Hi everybody, my name is Forrest Warner. I work in the audiovisual department at Hamilton College as part of the Library and Information Technology Services group. My primary function at the college is video support. So I'm here to give you some basics on what you can do when you try to shoot videos by yourself so that you have some information going into creating these videos that can help you bring up the overall quality. The main thing we're going to talk about is how to get your video quality up and how to keep your audio quality up. Audio quality, for those that don't realize, is just as important as the video. So if people can't hear what you're saying, the video itself is essentially not unusable. So we're going to kind of focus on those few individual tips in order to bring that quality up. Right now you'll notice the quality of the video you're looking at right now is fairly high. That's because we are currently shooting on a mirrorless or DSLR style camera. This is one of the cameras I typically use for most of the shoots I do on campus. The audio you're hearing also sounds quite nice. That's because I'm also wearing a lavalier microphone, which is the little guy here. This microphone is really close to my mouth. It's very sensitive and it picks up what I'm saying very well. And I've really dialed in those settings. I mean, I'm a professional, so I know how to use those settings, but a lot of what you have available to you should get you near high quality variation of what I'm doing. So what you likely have available to you is this: a webcam built into your laptop. Now, this image does not look as nice as the camera, the camera I was using, the DSLR. So there's various reasons for that. Mainly being that the camera itself is not as high quality. The chipset built in isn't as sensitive, so you can see lots of grain. That's also partially because it's not very well lit in the room I'm currently in. I'm at home at the moment, so I had to use whatever lighting is available to me, which I know is likely what's happening in your situation. You may be shooting video in your offices. You may also be at home, somewhere it can be quiet while you record the video. What I'm currently using for lighting, I am actually sitting very close to two windows. It happens to be very cloudy today. And it's very unfortunate because actually a lot of natural light, even on the worst kind of days like today, is actually way brighter than what you can get from most conventional lighting in your house. So I'm using a lamp right over here to my left. And I have another little lamp over to my right. It's kind of filling in this side of my face. And I've actually stuck a light in the back there. You can kind of see it. It's filling up near the bookcase. On the good camera, looks pretty nice, looks pretty even. But when it comes to the webcam built into the laptop, it looks pretty grainy. Some of the things you can do to improve the overall quality, probably as far as basically has to do with lighting. So what we could do is we could try to move some of these lights closer, maybe add additional lighting, and we could see how much of this graininess we can get to go away. So we're back, and this is what it looks like with a little better lighting. I tried a few things to try to bring the overall quality up, one of which I actually put some higher wattage bulbs in the lamp that I'm utilizing. I moved it closer to myself. So I think overall my lighting is better, and the room itself probably looks a little darker. Now, it actually is pretty important to light the room behind you as well, because the camera is analyzing the whole image, not just you. So it's going to adjust accordingly. So if the whole room is quite dark, then you're probably going to have issues with the overall quality. Again, everything looks normal on this camera because I'm able to make a lot more adjustments, but on the webcam, there's essentially automatic exposure, automatic ISO. There's lots of things going in play that is adjusting on the fly according to whatever you give it. Another point that I wanted to make was if you are trying to find light in your office or wherever you are, the big thing is you don't want to put your back up against a window. That's actually called backlighting. Now, the only way to combat something like that is that you have to light yourself up as bright as whatever you're putting yourself up against. So whether you're putting yourself against a TV screen or a window, that's actually putting out a lot of light. And again, if your camera is an automatic camera like the webcam, then you have to adjust accordingly. Here's an example of what it looks like when you backlight yourself. I've not lit myself very well at all, but I put myself up against a window and the camera is adjusting pretty much for the outside window. As you can see, no matter what I do, as long as the window is in the shot, it's actually going to not get any better. I'm going to try adding a little bit of light. Same thing, not while the window's there, it's going to give me trouble. If I spin myself around and utilize the outside window, yeah, not much better. So lighting is important. Now, of course, you're not, stuck utilizing just the camera that's in your laptop. You might be, but a lot of us have, we have AV departments, we have other technology sources available to us. The big one that you might use that might improve quality is a webcam. Now, we've had these Logitech webcams on campus for a while, and they're quite easy to use. They're USB. You just plug them into your computer, and you can select it as a source, and you're ready to go. These typically do have better sensors in them, so the overall quality is better. It's also nice to have these because you can. They actually have essentially a tap on the bottom of them that you can put onto a tripod. So if you wanted to place them in a room or move them around or put them wherever you need them to be, somewhere where you can't put a computer, that's what they're particularly useful for. So consider this when choosing what camera to shoot with. You might want to do a little bit of testing as well. This camera in particular shoots HD video no problem and works quite well. It also has a built-in microphone that is useful for when you shoot. Also, there are USB microphones available to you. This one in particular has a nice long lead on it. Same thing. You plug it into the USB port on your computer and you're off to the races. This one in particular is quite nice. It's omnidirectional, which means it'll pick up from any direction that you are from the microphone. The overall quality is quite nice. Now, why would you use a USB microphone? Well, a lot of times the pickup that you get for the audio depends on how far away you are from the mic. So the reason why I would wear a lavalier microphone is I can place the microphone very close to my mouth. So the closer the microphone is to the source of the audio, the better. I'm going to switch to the built-in camera microphone on the laptop right now, and it sounds probably just almost as nice as the lavalier microphone. I'm fairly close. I'm within 2 feet of the microphone. Picks me up nice. I'm talking directly to it. When I turn away, it probably doesn't pick up as well. No, it's not as nice. Or if for whatever reason I needed to get up and move away from the laptop to show something, the camera quality has gone down and it's adjusting as I move around and change the lighting in the room, but the mic also isn't picking me up as nice. So consider that as well, depending on what you're planning on doing. So the 3 things to remember when you're recording your video. Good lighting. Lighting matters. Use what you have available to you. Typically, again, if you're in your office, natural lighting and the room lighting is available to you. When you position yourself, you're going to want to put face towards the window so you can help utilize that natural light. Don't put your back up to it because you'll silhouette yourself. A lot of the automatic functions of the camera will make it so that you look like a silhouette. So utilize the light available to you. When it comes to the audio portion, again, how close the microphone is to you matters. Again, if you're far away from the camera, you're probably going to need some sort of microphone that's going to reach out to you. So you can utilize something like a USB microphone that will stretch out several feet, get closer to you, or use some sort of lavalier mic that also exists. There are lavalier USB microphones as well, so if you have the resources to borrow one from a AV department or whatever department you have that has technology, or if you can purchase one, that might be a good move. So now we're going to talk a little bit about doing actual webcam capture. What's the software you use in order to do that, to capture your movie? Now, again, I'm on this camera right here, I'm using a mirrorless camera or DSLR style camera. So I'm capturing it not off of a laptop. I'm recording it to an SD card that I am going to then bring to my computer later on to do the edit. And that's what I assume some of you might do. Again, you might feel comfortable enough to utilize a camera like this yourself, or you might have, again, resources available to you that where folks can help you make the recording. If you're going to use your laptop, this is primarily how you're going to do that. Now, first, we're going to talk about the Mac laptop. Obviously, there's a difference between Mac and Windows, and I just want to make sure that you kind of understand the differences of both. Mac tends to be a little bit easier when it comes to recording webcams, and you might actually have alternate software you're going to use. But what I'm going to recommend, or at least show you, is how to use QuickTime, which is a built-in piece of software for the Mac. So we are currently on the Mac laptop. We are going to want to open up QuickTime, which you can find should be automatically installed on your Mac. It'll be there. I've already opened QuickTime. And what you'll want to do is go into File and New Movie Recording. You'll see this initially pop up. Hey, there's me. And whatever cameras you have available to you will be located in this little caret here. If you click that, you'll see I only have one camera hooked up. It's the FaceTime camera that's built into the laptop, and the microphone is also built into the laptop. Now, there's also quality choices here. What I would probably stick to is the high quality, not the maximum. High quality is still going to give you HD video. It's going to be slightly compressed, but it's actually, if you go to maximum, it utilizes a large amount of space on your computer. So if you're going to do recordings of the highest quality, maybe use an external drive, or if you have a lot of space on your computer, go ahead and try it. But for the most part, stick with high. That'll keep the file sizes down and make it easier for you to do your recordings at a reasonable size. When you're ready to record, all you got to do is hit record. And there you go, you're off to the races. And that's how you record. When you're done making your recording, and you can see the audio levels showing up there, that's another way to test to make sure that your audio is working correctly. Once you're done, hit stop. It will then ask you to save. Or you can play back just to double check, make sure things working all right. And there you go, you're off to the races. Sounds fine, looks good. You can now save it to your desktop or wherever you wish to save it. I'm going to save it to how to record Mac. I'm going to save it to the desktop. Now the file is saved. So here we're going to talk a little bit about how to make a simple edit to a Mac recorded video. This is typically meant for doing tips and tails editing, which means you have your whole video shot, but you want to clean up the beginning and you want to clean up the end, because usually it's you starting the recording, getting settled, starting to speak. So maybe you stumbled a little bit in the beginning, or you did a couple takes. We want to, or it's same thing at the end of your video where like, okay, you finished your recording, now you're like, oh, I gotta stop recording, and you want to get rid of that. So that's what this is going to be for. There's a real simple tool built right into QuickTime. It's actually not even built into QuickTime. You can do this just from the Finder window on the Mac. So here we are looking at a couple of videos. So these are some video clips from what I've been shooting throughout the video so far. This how to record Mac video is one we shot together earlier. If you click on any video, you can hit spacebar.
There you go, you're off to the races.
And the video will automatically start playing on its own. It'll just open it up, almost like QuickTime. So what we want to do here, we can review our video.
And there you go, you're off to the races.
So say we wanted to get rid of that bit. So we can scroll kind of right, well, you know, we're off to the races. And we know at 3 seconds, we want to trim that. So at the beginning, we're going to trim off 3 seconds. Towards the end of the video, let's let it play a little bit.
That your audio is working correctly.
We want to cut it off at your audio is working correctly. So audio is working correctly. So at 13 seconds, we want to end the video. Now, if you go right here, this guy right here is actually trim. When you click it, you'll now see this yellow bounding box show up at the bottom. These are all just thumbnails from throughout the video. Those can be useful if you happen to shoot and move around a lot. It gives you an idea of like, oh yeah, this is where I shot that part, this part. Obviously it's just me sitting in front of a camera, so it's gonna be nothing but me. But because we looked up the times, you're gonna click and grab this part here, drag it to where you want your video to start, off to the races. And before I start speaking again, right around 3 seconds, we're gonna let go. I'm gonna pull off the click. Same thing at the end. We're going to click this guy, bring it to right around 13 seconds. And let go. Once we are done with and we're happy where we made our cuts, we're going to hit done. Now, here's where we can choose whether or not to, for what I would recommend, is that you keep your original videos unedited. So you can hit new clip here, because if you hit replace, you will literally just save over your original file. And if for some reason you made a mistake or whatever, you might change your mind later on. You want to have that original recording. So in this case, we can say new clip. It'll now ask us what we want to save it as. We can say how to record Mac trimmed or edited or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to save this to the desktop for now and say save. Depending on how long your video is, you might get a load indicator. It might take a few minutes to do it, or maybe a few seconds. It really depends. But for the most part, you should be good to go. So what we're going to talk about right now is recording a video for Windows. If you happen to have a Windows laptop with an integrated webcam and microphone, and for if you happen to have a webcam and microphone specifically for Windows. So here we go. Windows has a default camera program, and if for whatever reason you don't have it, you can download it from the Microsoft Store. It's called Microsoft Camera, or just Camera once you download it, but if you need to find it, it's Microsoft Camera. Click Camera and open up. And as you'll see, there's me. Currently, I am using the integrated camera on the laptop. Now, you can see right away that this quality of this camera is not great. Most webcams that are on a laptop tend to only shoot up to 720p. Standard HD is 1920 by 1080, so make sure if you're really interested in shooting that kind of quality that you get a camera that can do it. So a couple things to check here. If you're fine, if you're fine moving on with the laptop camera, do so. One thing to double check right here, real quick. You have a settings tab right here. Make sure that what we're most interested in is the video quality. Set that as high as you can. Currently it's on 720p. 30 frames a second, which is good to know. That's where we want to be. And then we can go back. When we are ready to record, it is as simple as clicking take video. You'll see at the bottom there's a record number. You do your video. Whenever you're done, you go ahead and hit stop. Down at the bottom here, a little thumbnail showed up. This actually takes you into camera roll. Takes you right to the file that you just shot. You can play it. And there it is. You can also go and open the folder where this exists as well by going up here to the three dots, the ellipses, hitting open folder, and it takes you right to where it is, which again is in my folder in pictures in camera roll. If for some reason you take the video and you don't like it, you can hit the trash can here, say delete, and it brings you right back to the camera, and that file is gone. So another thing is if you want to use an alternate webcam, you can do so as well. Just make sure you have it plugged in to the into your computer. Up in the top right corner here, you'll actually see a little icon that's change camera. You go ahead and click that, and it should default back over to your other camera. So this is now the webcam. The only thing is you need to, in order to change the audio device, you have to go into actual Windows settings to do so. They are located, if you go down to your little speaker icon here and right click and go to open sound settings, you just make sure you're on sound, and then for your input, make sure that your input device is set to whatever you want to pick up the audio. So in this case, I want the webcam. I'll click over. Now you'll actually see better levels too, because this microphone picks up better than the laptop. You have to make sure you do that. That's the only way that the Windows software will actually function with the audio settings. So make sure you do that. So if you're not getting good audio or you're getting audio that's, that it's specifically going to the sound settings in order to correct that. One thing to note, just because you're probably wondering what's up with these cross-hatching, that's actually this framing grid. You can turn it off if you don't like it. It's also a rule of thirds and things. So that's just to help guide you. The cross hatch there where my eyes are, that's pretty much where your eyes should be when you're in your framing. You can turn that off if you don't like it. I also have Pro mode on, which is pretty handy. It gives you a couple of options. On the left side here, one thing you might notice, again, if it's like shifting focus in and out depending on whatever's in front of you, this here, if you click on it, is focus. If you just barely move it up to the 0, now it won't actually shift focus. It'll actually stay specifically on this plane, and it'll look nicer, and you won't see that random shifting of focus. If you click it off, this one right here is actually brightness. So if for some reason it's where you are is not bright, it'll actually add some gain or take it away depending on where you are. So that's good there. And then when you're ready to record, same deal, go over, hit record. Hey, I'm recording my video. And then when you're done, go ahead, hit stop. Same thing, video's down here. Hit play. Works fine. And then when I'm ready to edit, I can go ahead and move on to photos. So why don't you give an idea on how to also make quick, easy edits to your videos recorded to the Windows machine. So you just need to make sure that your computer has Microsoft Photos installed on it. If not, you can easily go to the Microsoft Store and download it there. Once you've done so, if you go to where you have your video clips saved, I do have one here from a previous test recording I did for something different. If you right click on that video clip, go to Open With, and go to Photos. If for some reason it doesn't show up, go to Choose Another App and find Photos there. Select Photos.
It's me doing a test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
So I have like about 10-second-ish video. Yeah, 10 seconds of just me testing probably the audio for a video. If you now go to the Edit and Create tab, you can go to Trim. Now, again, this look at your video, find where you want to cut the beginning and the end. So I start speaking at about 2 seconds, and again we can scrub a little bit and see where I start speaking. You're going to take this right here and you're going to take it right to where it even leaves a little hash there. Then that's going to cut, that's going to be where your video starts.
Speed doing a test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
Now we want to cut right when I finish talking. So at about the 8-second mark, again, if you grab this guy, which will kind of end it, again, you'll see that little hash mark right here. It'll lock right onto that. So you know where you want to cut it, scrub over, let go, and that's pretty much it. You can save a copy. What it'll do is it won't save over your original video file. It'll save a copy. You click on it. Depending on how long your video is, that'll load up, and then it will show you your video here. The video now is 5 seconds long, so I'll play it.
Speed doing a test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
And that's our video. The video was saved into the videos folder. It names it the original file name, plus they had like a little downscore trim on the end of it. So that it shows you the original plus the new one.
So you may be wondering about using phones, and they're a totally legitimate option. They have fantastic cameras on them. The newer iPhones have excellent quality images. Same rules apply, of course. You just have to make sure that you don't backlight yourself. So I silhouette myself, utilize that natural light. You want to stay relatively close to the phone because the mic will pick up you a lot better if you move farther away. It's nice to be mobile, but you have to also make sure that you pay attention to the ambient noise that's around you. So if you're in a particularly noisy location, you could pick up a lot more of that noise, and it could become an issue. There are microphones that do interface with phones. You could either plug into the jacks on your phone or utilize the Bluetooth. So if you want to be mobile, check that out as an option. Again, another problem that people typically have, especially if they want to do editing of videos, is if you want to try to get the video back to your computer to do editing or upload it, you have to have a way to transfer those files over. So make sure that you consider something like cloud storage, or if you want to save the file on your phone, you'll just need to make sure that you can do a file transfer via USB and plugging it into your laptop. So think about those things if you're planning on going the phone route.
So some folks aren't as good off the cuff when it comes to just trying to say what they need to say, especially when it comes to speaking to a camera. So I've been asked to show you guys a tool available through your browser that works as a teleprompter. So if you have a script that you want to work through for your video, you can actually just copy your pre-written text, paste it into the word field, and you can use it as a teleprompter. And I'm going to show that to you now. The website is teleprompt.online. If you go there, you can copy your script text. In this case, I just took the Gettysburg Address and copied that from online. I'm pasting it into the field, and then I'm going to say prompt. What you'll now see is it takes you to a new window that shows you your text. To go through this, you'll see there is a play button. You hit play, it starts moving forward. You hit pause, it stops it. This next, I'm going to hit play again, this next area here is actually speed. So if you bump up the speed, everything will go a little bit faster. One thing I noticed is if you leave your cursor inside here, actually while you're reading this, you can actually, if it's going too slow for you, you can actually speed it up by hitting up on your keyboard. You can also do the same. You're like, oh man, I'm actually starting to fall behind a little bit. I'm going to make it go a little bit slower. The next here is text size. I'm going to pause it for a second. Text size, if you hit up, you'll see everything kind of freak out for a second, but it's resizing itself, and all the words get bigger. So if you have a little bit trouble seeing the words, you can resize it a little bit to help get you where you can read. So but the thing is that the speed will always stay the same no matter what size you make the text. So you're going to want to find that balance that works for you. I actually liked it at its default size, and I did like personally at about 13. If you hit stop, that's what this guy here is. It just goes all the way back to the very beginning of the script. The numbers here indicate kind of where you are in the video. So as you start the scroll, you'll see the seconds and then go up. And then the 201 is actually how long it should take to get through this video, or through the script, I mean. If you hit up and the speed goes up, you'll notice that number gets shorter and shorter. So if you need to fit within a certain amount of time, you're going to need to consider that when you right there, and that helps you give you a clue. Again, if you hit stop, brings you back to the beginning. If you hit X, what this does, it just brings you back to that initial website that we were, or web page we were at. Again, hit prompt, have all your script in there, hit play, and you're good to go.
So once you have your script all set and ready to go, you can go ahead and open up your webcam software. So again, we're on Windows, so we're going to use Microsoft Camera. Going to go ahead and select the webcam. Make sure it's kind of where I want it. Not a very exciting shot. Here, we'll add a poster. Make sure our settings are where we need them to be. Double check our sound settings. We are on the correct microphone. We are now going to, so at this point we can actually go ahead and hit record, and we'll start shooting our video. We can speak to the camera, and when we're ready we can go ahead and start playing our script. Or if for whatever reason you want to see both, you can take your setup and do this. So just move your script to the left side and have your camera going on the right side. That way you have access to both. So we can start reading our script. If anything, put your camera above your script, so that way it at least looks like you're sort of looking into the camera, and then read through your script as you need to. Once you're done, you can hit stop, and that's it. But again, you don't have to have your camera over on the right like this. You can still do it this way. It will record in the background. You just, when you're done, you have to make sure you bring it forward and stop it whenever you need to.